What's going on?
Not much was happening.
Man, shit over here, stirring up a little controversy, man, waking people up in the community.
Right, right. I wanted to take a little credit, on my way in to tell you the truth, if I could.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
I feel like, since my live stream a couple weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
I've, and this to the MGMs too. I'm talking to the MGMs right now too. I want them to, listen up too. But I feel like I've had you at your best.
You turn me up. I told in the Discord, I said it's because of you that I started going crazy.
Right, right. You've been in real performance.
I gave you your credit. I give everybody their credit. Listen, I even gave motivation credit in the Discord yesterday. Listen, I'm going to always
Right,
give people their credit.
right. Yeah, yeah, but that's what I'm doing right now. I just want to tell you, the content, and you see the numbers, you see the likes, and I ain't in your business, but I see,
It
that
ain't
yeah,
it
you
ain't
you
it ain't equating to nothing financial. It ain't equating to financial. It's just giving me something to do. It's keeping me occupied.
right, 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 you know, but yeah, we've been kind of butting heads on a few topics, and I was in the truck when I first, popped on, and I kind of wanted to, I was finishing up, some work, so. Yeah, I
Mhm.
wanted to, just pop through. I don't have a whole lot of time, but we could kick it for a minute. I seen you on. I've been meaning to try to catch you, but I don't be trying to go live from the truck. You
I
know what
feel
I'm
you.
saying? I
I
probably
feel you.
should do that more, but I
Uh
really
huh.
don't be trying to go live from the truck. And I'm driving and doing three different things at once. I want them to have my undivided attention. So, that's why I've been trying to catch you. And I'm like, hopefully by the time I get home, he'll still be on because I know your daytimes don't usually run as long as the evening ones. You see,
Yeah.
mine's been running kind of long because
Yeah.
it's a hot topic. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So that's why I wanted to come on, and we speak from time to time, but
We
I
do.
want to say that too. Like we haven't spoken recently, and I think
Mhm.
that's for a reason. I want this to be organic. You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So that's kind of why it ain't no because we smooth.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't want to do no stage business or nothing like that. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And like I said, you've been in rare form. So
Yeah.
I've been tuning in more than I normally have. Just
Mhm.
to kind of pick up on the content. And like I said, I feel like, and I'm joking about the taking credit, but
No, I know. I know.
the space needed it. You see what I'm
I
saying?
agree.
And,
I agree.
and then just not being fake. I don't agree with your take on the cheap freight, and
Why?
that's just my opinion. It ain't because I feel like, and I want to be careful what I say because I've seen that too over these last couple live streams that certain things could be twisted, and it's just the internet. You got to watch what you say up here, and I get that. So some things I've said has been kind of taken out of context, but I think I kind of touched on the fact that certain individuals could take that verbiage in the wrong direction. Let's just say that. And I feel like there is a such thing as cheap freight. I get what you're saying, and I touched on that. If you know your costs, you know that you're doing what's right for you and your business, whether it be you, one man operation, or you running a fleet with drivers. If you making the proper decisions for you,
Mhm.
then I could see. I'm still not saying I agree, but I could see your take on it not being a such thing as cheap freight. But for an individual who I touched on this is uneducated in business and just running a truck in general, because I don't think you necessarily have to be, a business specialist to be successful in a truck. And I'm not taking anything away from anybody who, has educated themselves on, because I believe in that. But I'm saying I learn stuff every day. And now I'm getting an echo, but I don't know. But yeah, I'm learning things every day. So you don't have to, what I'm saying is you're going to learn as you go. You're not going to come, I'm sure you didn't come into business knowing everything day one. And I think most individuals in today's age are not going to come into business having a full understanding of business as a whole. We understand a lot of individuals are coming in and they are uneducated in business itself. But one thing I want to say, and I stand on this, I know individuals that are working 9 to 5, 8 to 4, 6 to 2 jobs, day in, day out. And if they started a business tomorrow, they would immediately start tracking their numbers. You kind of get what I'm saying? Like, to me, that was common sense when I started a business. If I'm going 136 miles from Chicago to anywhere in Indiana, I'm going to write down that I'm going 136 miles, and then how many miles it took me deadhead. That's common sense. To me, that's not something you need to take a business class to understand. I didn't. Like I said, I educated myself on certain things mathematically or arithmetic-wise. But as far as just having a total understanding of business in general when I started, I didn't. I learned as I went. But it was common sense to know my costs and to track numbers from day one.
Common sense ain't so common no more.
I've said that, and I agree. But I'm just saying, I know individuals that, like I said, work jobs. If they started a business tomorrow, they will immediately start tracking their numbers. A lot of individuals. It takes a certain type of mindset, and that's what I'm saying. I kept touching on that. It's a mental thing for you to get in the truck and drive and choose not to track your fuel costs, not to track what you're deadheading from point A to point B. Like, to me, a lot of this is common sense. It has nothing to do with actually being super educated on business. It's more of a, I'm going to have to plug this up, but it's more of a mindset of individuals just not wanting to take the time to do certain things. And I think you understand that as well. It's like a mental block to where when you have to push because that's where discipline come in. When you get up and you like, I don't want to do this today. To me, discipline kick in when you say, all right, whatever, I'm going to do it. That's discipline to me. So you're undisciplined when you say, I just don't feel like doing it. And then you don't do it. See, that's the difference. So when it comes to, like I said, compiling 5, 6, 7 receipts for a week, how many times do we get fuel in a week, honestly? So when it comes to getting 5, 6, 7 receipts and writing down the total on each receipt and adding 7 receipts and getting a total number for what you spent in fuel, bro, that's not hard. That's not difficult at all. It's a mental thing to say, I got to keep running this truck. I don't got time to calculate. You got time to calculate the receipts. We all got time to calculate receipts. We got 5 minutes, whether you do it in a truck, at home, when you're sitting on the toilet in the morning, at the broker while you waiting to get loaded. It's downtime. I'm in a truck, so I know. We got plenty of downtime out here. It's a mental block because you pick up a phone and they watching you. Or you pick up a phone and you watching this show. Or you watching this. So, like I said, it's not being super educated on business. It's more of a mental thing, and it's relating directly back to what I said, discipline. So individuals need to focus on first being more disciplined in order to be, more business savvy. First, you got to track the numbers, and that's the point I was making with the whole take on, whether you could, leverage yourself against another owner operator. It is no leverage without education. I said that.
Well, I think and I expound a lot on the operation costs, right? As far as cost per mile, knowing what it costs to run your business, but it's a lot of other variables that are associated with a person being successful in business. That's one of the main components, but that's not everything, right? Another issue that I harp on is the decisions people make from a personal perspective, which ultimately result in how their business runs and operate, and the decisions they make in business. There's a lot of reasons why people are failing. That's one of the main reasons, but that's not the only reason. You know what I'm saying? That I harp on. I feel like, you know what? You do need to be sharp in business. I think you should educate yourself. Listen, if you're getting in business, I think you, in today's day and age, with today's technology, with what's offered on YouTube, I think a person who's entering into any type of business should sit and look at some of these MIT courses or some of these free courses that are offered on YouTube and take an introduction to business 101 course. Understand economics, understand micro, understand macro, so that you can forecast and know what you fully investing in. Understand what business accounting looks like from a 101 and a 102 level. Take an introduction to business. Listen, the playing field ain't fair. And see, this is what I'm trying to get people to understand. When you come in, there's going to be people that are more experienced than you, that are sharper than you, that have more resources than you, have more capital than you. You have to compete. You're right. When I got into business, I didn't know about the trucking business. I understood business from an education level, right? But the actual hands-on, I had to gain that with experience. When I got in then was different than now. It was competitive then, but the cost to operate wasn't as high then. The competition wasn't as fierce then. So now, years later, when you have way more competition in this economy, you have to be a lot. Listen, that margin of error that I had back in 2010, people don't have that margin of error now. And that margin of error, whatever it may be, depending on how much capital you have, is going to determine how long you're going to have to figure this shit out before your money run out. Would you agree or would you disagree?
Oh, definitely. The way you running your business right now, like I said, tracking your numbers and so forth is crucial at this point. And that's why I constantly try to push, because I know that it starts from discipline, and that'll be my message to anybody that's listening. Take the time to do the small stuff when you have the time to do it. Don't put off stuff for later that you could do right now. You're not that busy. And I think we all tend to act more busy than we are because, we just choose to do other things. But at the end of the day, like I said, I just feel like, and I know I'm being redundant, I feel like it starts with discipline. Creating some type of schedule each day that, hey, I do this between this time frame and that time frame. I do this but at some point before I sit down and relax and do whatever I like to do, when I'm not in the truck, let me crunch these numbers. It's simple.
Okay.
And something else. And I don't mean to cut you out, but something else I want to give people, because I was speaking about this and I didn't know the actual channel. It's a particular channel, like I said, I hated math. So I went to these guys. It's Math Antics. I looked it up on YouTube. I had to go back. I forgot about it. Math Antics, one word. They make math really, really fun. whatever aspect you looking at, they could teach you how to do. And it's interesting, it's humorous, and it's entertaining. So when you get done with this stream, even if you don't want to, just go look at one of their videos, and it
I wrote
may
it
make
down.
you right math antics. Because I mentioned this on one of my streams. This is how I learned how to do complex math equations, where you getting A plus B equal, and one number in the middle in parentheses. You got a multiple, so it's a bunch of different, you know, order operations. All of that is there. Math antics. So check them out, and I think it starts with that. Just learning how to do simple arithmetic, and then disciplining yourself to do your numbers, know your cost per mile, and so forth. And that's kind of what I'm getting at. We all see, and like I said, we know we add a little humor. We might joke around, take a little couple, shots here and there. But the point of the matter is, individuals are not taking the time to do the legwork to be successful in the first place, or leverage themselves against anybody. Like I said, without educating yourself, it's no way you could leverage yourself against anybody. Do you agree with that? Do
Yeah,
you
I
think
always say
being
educate yourself.
being
I
very,
always say
very
it.
right? There's no way that you could begin, and that's just the point I'm making. I get what you're saying, but I think uneducated individuals think that goes for them,
I think
and
that's
then
what
they'll
we
use
agree.
that.
I think that's where we agree, but where we disagree is what people want to see this debate. As far as I say, there's no such thing as cheap freight, and you think there is. So,
Yeah,
what's cheap freight? Because we agree with all that, but the thing
right.
is the cheap freight versus it don't exist. So you saying it exists? What is cheap
Yes,
freight?
it's
What is
alive
it?
and well. Cheap freight is, like I said, anything that you choose to run on a regular basis that's at. Meaning, if your cost per mile is $1.52 per mile, and you run for a full week for $1.52 per mile for no reason, you actually, it shouldn't be a reason why you should be able to work yourself into an area if you understand trucking, and you've been OTR. Like I was OTR in a Sprinter van, so I understand it's certain states, that are more profitable freight wise: Michigan, Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana, Tennessee, both of the Carolinas, and Georgia's okay. So I understand, even now I'm local, but I understand what states, if I went OTR, that I would hang out in to make myself profitable. You see what I'm saying? You could hang out in Ohio and just eat going from there to Michigan and back and forth. Ohio, Indiana, Michigan. You don't, so it's just having an understanding on, you know, where you at and what you doing, in my opinion.
So why do so many people say, "Oh, stop taking cheap freight"? What if a person want to run for $1.52 and they cost per mile is $1.52? What they got to do with the next person? This is what I'm trying to understand.
Nothing. Nothing.
Okay, so why do everybody keep saying it? Because here's the thing: with what you said to me, I fuck with you, but that sounds like a person who's running expensive freight, right? Because ain't shit cheap about you running shit even or you paying. If I'm paying for something, that shit ain't cheap. It's expensive. That shit costly, right? All right. So if a next person is doing something that's not in they best interest, I'm trying to figure out one, it don't make sense, right? When you put it into context. And two, why are so many people worried about the reason that they saying they fell in this because the next person is doing something that's not in their best interest? See, this is why I'm saying it don't exist. Because and when you put it into context, it doesn't make sense. And if that person is doing something that's not in their best interest, that don't got shit to do with why my business is failing. So where's the cheap freight? Because what you do, Midwest, it don't affect me. And what I
Right,
do don't
I get what
affect
you're
you.
saying. I dropped my top. Hold on. Yeah. Nah,
If
nah,
you
I
go
get
out,
what you
you see what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying, but at the same time, you know, it's just like it just kind of depends on the individual. Me personally, I'm not complaining, you know, and I don't get up here. I don't like to brag, you know. I'm just gonna say I'm okay right now. I'm gonna leave it at that. I'm not, and I said this. I don't even place myself in the same, and it's not feeling like I'm better. It's just that I know I have an understanding. First off, I know my costs per mile and my costs in general. You know, I'm 5.5 years in right now. Not 5.5. I'm over 5 years in right now. I don't want to sugarcoat nothing. I'm like 5 years, 3 months in right now.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? I did start in an older vehicle, but it was different then.
But see,
You
here's
see
the
what I'm saying?
thing.
I
See,
started in a '99.
but then on the other day on the live stream, you saying, well, man, these you know you can't do this or that. But see, here's the issue that I have. A lot of the people, when you look at it, when I look at you, I started in an older vehicle, you started in an older vehicle, Vic started in an older vehicle, the box truck people, they got their vehicle up there. That's an older vehicle. Everybody that is in content start with an older vehicle. But when I tell people to start in an older vehicle, and then you say, well, man, you ain't gonna be able to get no contracts, this and that. Okay, so if one person turns you down, there's plenty of other people. I understand what it's going to take for a person to win. These people ain't going to be able to survive out here going and getting brand new vehicles or fairly new vehicles. They won't be able to cover the cost. I look at things
If
from not just a business perspective. You got to also look at this shit from people's personal lifestyles. You got to understand it. You know why so many people robbing from their business? Because they starting this business with family, they got kids, all this other shit. So how can a person who got a costly living go out here and get a vehicle that's fairly new with that high cost, still be try to sustain the business within itself with that high overhead, and then got to pay themselves enough money because they got kids and shit at the crib, they got a mortgage, they got rent, they got a wife that's not working. All this shit
they got to do
contributes.
their leg work before they come in. I kind of talked about that too. Going around having business cards. When I started, I had a logo. If you get a logo, they're going to offer you business cards. You see what I'm saying? Get your business cards. You got to go out to Elk Grove Village, Schaumburg, all these areas that's saturated with logistics companies and try to sell yourself that way. Yeah, it's a roll of the dice. But I know people that's got like I said, they in the upper echelon of individuals and the way they walk in, present, and carry themselves. That's something else I talked about. The way you walk in and present yourself and talk to these different people make a world of a difference on the success you're going to have out here. So I think a lot of people don't know how to present themselves, from the way they dress to the way they talk and so forth. But it's part of going out and, like I said, advertising, handing out business cards, cold calling, Indeed.com. Craigslist is really not to me a viable source. But the point I'm making is do your leg work before you ever get the truck. Have somebody telling you, hey, okay, you seem okay, I might give you a chance before you jump in that truck. But I'm going to tell you for a fact that brokers are requiring 10 to 7 years, a lot of them. Now, can you work your way around that? Yes. But once again, we speaking realistically. What individuals, Mark? What individuals we talking about here? People that don't want to add up 7 receipts.
Good. Here's the thing. I don't feel bad for a person who don't do what's in the best interest of their business. I appreciate them because I need them. I need them to not do it.
And I had that. I had that same mindset. I feel like I'm low key about it. Because when you talk about I gotta plug this phone up.
But see, when you educating your own people, you have to be brutally honest with them, whether they like you or they don't like you. And I'm the guy who is doing it. I get flack for it, but I'm not wrong. Listen, if you go out and you do dumb shit, right? If you do dumb shit because you don't understand the way things work and no one cares about your plight or the bad decisions that you make, there's going to be someone else that takes advantage. That's an opportunity for somebody else. This is just the way
Exactly.
where the world works.
Exactly.
Right? So people get mad when I say it, but it's the truth, right? It's the truth. I realized it. I realized it in my 20s. I had a situation where I thought, and no one cared, and that woke my eyes up. So when it came time for business, I was already mentally, I was already there. I understood. Listen, I got to go out and do what's in my best interest. You see what I'm saying? So I hear what you're saying, but I'm telling these people, I'm giving these people the information that they need. And I think more people, and here's the thing, you have a little bit more tenure than some of the creators in the space that,
most of them.
Most of them.
And I ain't being
right.
cocky, most of them.
Right.
I was
right.
here before it ever came, box trucking ever became the YouTube.
Right.
I was already running a trucking company.
Now, you have more tenure on me than YouTube, but I started in 2010, so I have more tenure than you in the business, right? What I'm trying to say, go ahead.
And I ain't taking nothing away from you, but that was in the final mile. More so.
Final mile and moving. Correct? But I understand
not so
trucking.
Much middle mile.
But I understand middle mile.
I do think you have a grasp on trucking.
I know trucking.
I'm just saying you didn't run a whole lot of middle mile.
And here's the thing. When it comes to educating on middle mile, like intricately, like partials and shit like that, I don't touch it. And I say it all the time because I didn't run it. But now when I speak on the trucking as a whole, I understand. Like I've been in it long enough. I understand it. This is why I can say, there's no peak. There's not going to be a peak season. I can give you the indicators why. I can tell you, Amazon go back. Like only a fool could look at what was going on 2 years ago and not come to the conclusion that they had no fucking choice.
And what we talked about that a year ago? Well,
we talked about over a year ago. The
first cup, right?
Well, when we did but I did a video on it 2 years ago, and there was another content creator that did a short on it 2 years ago, and it was really, really early because a lot of these smaller markets didn't see those trucks yet. So this is the advantage that me and you got being in Chicago. We in a big market. We see shit that these smaller markets don't see. That's the advantage that we have as content creators in this trucking space. We in the freight capital. So when I present something or you could present something that we see as a lag, they don't see it. So I get flagged when I say, "Oh man, Amazon finna get their own trucks." I see the trucks. I understand it. I'm a content creator. There's people within these corporations that send me this shit DM like, "Mark, you might need this for your company." You know what I'm saying? So I don't say where it comes from, but I have insight. So I tell people, listen, the migrants finna take it. They finna come into trucking. You complaining about the rates. Ain't no such thing as cheap rates. I'm telling you this so that you can do what's in your best interest to get your shit together, learn your calls, and understand all that shit, because the rates ain't. See, here's the thing. I understand why the market exists. I understand what the spot market and why trucking was deregulated. I understand why Jimmy Carter deregulated a lot of industries in the 70s, right? You can't have it both ways, Bid West.
And I get that too. You know what you're saying as far as you're gonna see it at the register. I hear you, and I get that point. But like I say, I don't know. People think I got some radical views. I don't know what it is, but I'd rather take it at the register. Let me determine what I want to buy. And I don't know. Do that sound crazy to you?
You said you want to target people what?
I would rather let them, because in my opinion, they inflating the prices on goods anyway.
Wait. You said you rather target the people at the register?
I would rather pay the cost at the register and give me my money for my load.
You know why?
I determine what I want to buy or not buy, when I want to spend and when I want to save. I don't need them to determine that for me. Because in
but
my opinion, they already look how much it is for
but
groceries. We all, I mean,
but
look
but,
what we
but you
spending.
but you gotta understand, everything for the most part is brought on a truck or some form of transportation. So you're gonna have to spend money on something. You're gonna have to spend money. So I'd rather compete harder, beat out the retards that's stupid, who don't want to do what's in their best interest, that want to make the money and go spend it and not save it, not delay their gratification, right? Because we see it's more of them than it is people that want to do the right thing and save at the register. There's no sense of everybody making a lot of money and then all that money we made, it don't feel like a lot of money because it's getting wiped out over here. This shit, I listen. The way they going about it now, we put ourselves in this situation. So I don't agree with how they going about it, but I definitely understand it. So it's just like deregulating the shit in the 70s. Something has to correct itself. Listen, forget trucking. Let's look at fast food. Let's just look at a person working at the movie theater. Everybody want to make a lot of money. Everybody want to make $20, $30 an hour. Think about it, Midwest. Forget trucking. Take trucking out the equation. How much you think it's going to cost to go see a movie if we got to pay the person at the front desk $20-something an hour? If we got to pay the people in Walmart. So now think about it like this. The cost of trucking, the transportation is high. That's going to get passed along to the register, right? The people who working at Walmart doing the stocking and all that, they want more. That's going to get paid along to the register. There has to be some shit that gets cut. They deregulated a lot of industries in the 70s, right? So people could continue to make money and costs could be low. Obviously, deregulating trucking in the 70s, that's when you really saw big box retail take off. That's when Walmart really started to boom. It benefited them, right? But now, where we at now, shit has been deregulated. Most of these industries have been deregulated for the past 40 something years. But now we're in a time with inflation and people's mindset, people want to make more. Okay, we can either pay people more, which is going to continue to raise costs, which is, it's still going to equate to the same shit because people are making more, but they paying more. So it's like, where's the savings going to come from? Where's it going to come from? All right, so now we can't do nothing with people's mindset. We at this point now. So boom, we have to bring in people who are going to, one, do these jobs, because a lot of these vocational industries, people ain't even applying for apprenticeships no more. We need people to come in that's going to, one, want to do the work, and they're going to do the work at a price that we want them to do it at so that we can continue to keep things somewhat affordable. Yes, there are going to be some people who going to lose, who ain't going to do what's in their best interest. Yes. Tent cities are going to rise. You're going to see more tents down there on Canal Port. You're going to see more tents right there off of Roosevelt Street. You're going to see more tents under every single viaduct. Those are the people that may not want to do what's in their best interest. But at the end of the day, something got to give. So these people going to come in. They're going to, one, do the work. And two, they're going to do it at minimum wage. Because here's the thing. I ain't finna go work at Walmart for whatever the state minimum wage is at $7.50, $8 an hour. Because guess what? In the city of Chicago, the city got a minimum wage of $15. But if you in the suburbs, it's $7.75. Our state minimum wage ain't went up.
That.
All right, so Midwest. So this is what I try to get people to understand. You can't have it both ways. It sucks. It does suck. But this is why this shit is in place. They deregulate. That took us for 40 some years. But now we at a point where people want to make more money because shit costs more. The cost of living is more. We done got spoiled. We want to fucking wear Supreme satchels across our fucking chest. We want to wear Balenciagas, all this shit. But don't nobody want to work to get to that shit. We can't pay people X amount of dollars when we have a store like Walmart that provides general merchandise at an affordable price. It won't be affordable no more. We have to figure out ways to keep costs low as possible so that consumers can continue to pay affordable prices. Forget trucking. You have to look at it on the grand scheme of things. So when I try to explain this shit to people, it's for people to, because a lot of people may not understand this because they may not understand economics. So I try to explain this to people so that they can take this information and say, okay, that makes sense. Let me pay more attention to what I got in front of me so I don't lose it. Let me buckle down. Let me stop spending so much money. Let me delay my gratification. Let me compete a little bit harder so I can put a little bit money to the side so I can invest a little bit money, because what that says makes sense. Yeah, if we have to pay me, listen, what Gavin Newsom is doing in California, he's there. Supposedly they prepping him to run. If Kamala don't win, if Trump wins, right, he's done. That means we're gonna get a Democrat. Supposedly they prepping Gavin Newsom to run for the Democratic candidate in 2028. Now, what if he implements what he's implementing in California on a federal level? We could look at it with AB5. We could look at it from what he's did with the rideshare industry. That fell under AB5. But we can also look like he's taking minimum wage, and he's not even doing it on a full scale. He's breaking shit down in industry. They making $20 an hour out there.
They're going to have to have newer trucks over there.
That's already implemented over there.
They got to have a deaf, right, and that's been for a while. You had to have a deaf system.
But look how it's affecting them. So now imagine if he runs for president in 2028, he's definitely going to implement it on a federal level. So that's not making shit easier, which goes back to what I'm saying. People need to understand what's going on, do what's in their best interest, because shit is going to stay the same and or get worse. If he becomes the president, AB5 is definitely going federal. That shit he's doing with minimum wage is definitely going federal. It's definitely going federal. Look how many owner operators that are running fast food chains that have had to close down. If I open a restaurant like a White Castle's or a McDonald's where I'm selling a value meal, the whole purpose of the restaurant chain was to provide a meal at a value price that's no longer a value price. It defeats the whole purpose. Who's going to pay $20 for a number one? They paying what, 17, 14, 15, $16 for a number one for the restaurants that open? Look what happened with all these Subways this morning.
What was that about? I ain't even hear about it.
A bunch of Subways, like what Lou Jackson was saying the other day. I don't know if you watched the live stream, and I said, bro, I know you cool with your supervisor, but you don't know the inner workings of the business. They could be operating at a loss. They'll never tell you to the very end. A bunch of Subways closed. They didn't tell none of the employees. They didn't tell the management. They just told them one day, listen, shut the doors, lock the doors. We out of money. They milked them. They used them. They did a cash grab. They knew they didn't have any money. The managers, that's the way shit goes.
The Subway been slow lately, though. I've been noticing that over the course of the last 6 months that I don't know their nationality. I want to say maybe Indian couple. But they run a Subway in an area that I used to hang out a lot when I was, in the truck more. And I just noticed, like, man, they get a few cars here, a few cars there. But I would wonder, like, how they would get by. And I ain't been over there in a minute, but I kind of wonder, what's going on with them. Because, I was just noticing that Subway didn't kind of slow down.
A lot of restaurants. But see, we live in Chicago, bro. We know how much it costs to live here. Honestly, can a person go and work at a fast food restaurant here, making minimum wage, and be able to just survive? Honestly.
Not really.
All right.
And
so
what I see a lot of too is like in them same areas that I'm speaking about and it's just being real, is homelessness.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about migrants. See, because you talk about migrants a lot. I'm talking about Americans. Black, white, Hispanic. And what's happening is they have jobs. I can show you 3 individuals like this, and because it was times, like I said, where I would sit in the truck a lot. I sleep in the truck, and I would sleep in certain spots. And I, would see the same cars, and individuals would sleep in their cars overnight. Sometimes it's 2 or 3 of them because they all know what they're doing. I watched individuals pull everything out their vehicle, a couple, when they woke up, like clean they truck out. But what I'm saying is it's a lot of individuals with jobs and vehicles that's homeless. And one of the reasons being, and I know some people personally that's experienced this is with most of the rental properties and apartments, they requiring credit checks now.
Mm-hmm.
That was something they ain't do back in the day. So now, in order to get an apartment, they got to run your credit. And a 640, we all know, ain't the greatest, but
Mm-hmm.
they're requiring that in order for you to even rent a 2-bedroom apartment. So now you got individuals that got good jobs, nice vehicles, but they cannot. I know people personally like this. I'm not saying nothing that I know people that's experienced this. I know somebody that was willing to put 8,000 down to get into an apartment. That's what he was telling the people that was leasing. Man, look, forget the credit. I give you 8 bands right now
Mm-hmm.
to get in this
But
crib.
But as a landlord, it's too risky because could take the 8 bands
Got
and the
bad
moment
credit.
they stop paying rent, it's gonna cost me more to get them out of there because there's shit that's protecting them. You see what I'm saying? So I would have turned
Right.
the 8 bands away.
They did.
Yeah.
They did. They went with another person that was going to put down 3. So that's what I'm just explaining to you what individuals are facing right now. If you got bad credit, you could find yourself homeless with a nice vehicle, plenty of clothes, and a good job. But you just going to wake up in the parking lot, defrost your windows, drink a bottle of water, use a couple wet wipes, if you will, and they go to work. I watch people
Okay.
do this.
But let's look at this as a case study. What put them in that position? They got a good job, a nice car. I'm assuming if they got a good job and a nice car, I'm pretty sure they had a decent house. So how do you go to being homeless with a nice car and a decent job and nice clothes? What put them in that position?
Some people being uneducated let one place go. And when they moved into that place 5-10 years ago, it wasn't no credit checks.
No.
Now, and I'm saying that's just hypothetical for some people. A lot of people is negligence and the pandemic
That's what
and
that I
blowing
see.
money.
I don't see. I
That's
can't
most
blame
of
the pandemic. I think it's just like I say. People that get in bad decisions, it comes from poor decision making, and
No,
in
but I
businesses.
mean the PPP. I said pandemic. I mean PPP. Because in my opinion, that messed up a lot of stuff because of the decisions. It's individuals that right now could be rich, but they don't have any money. And it's because of decisions. It's people that got PPP money that didn't get in trouble.
There you go.
Get in trouble.
But that's the point I'm trying to make.
It's just gone.
But that's the point I've been trying to make the whole time with the whole cheap freight. And I tell people, show me a person who complaining about cheap freight. I'll show you a person who don't know their costs and or makes bad personal and or business decisions. I say that all the time. Because here's the thing. If freight is cheap and you believe in it, I don't believe in it, you seem to be doing okay.
Like I said, I don't want to brag. My business is doing the best right now.
You seem to be doing okay. You seem to be doing okay. That's the point that I'm trying to make. So you know how to win, regardless of what they say.
And also leverage, but in a different way. Like, I don't think leveraging yourself is taking the minimum amount possible to run a load and call that competing. I don't agree with that.
Listen, I ran loads for $100 net profit at volume.
I wouldn't do that.
But
Not
see,
in a 26 foot.
Okay, but in a 26-foot, I would ran it for the minimum I could have
profit.
profit.
Jackson too, because he one of the only people that'll come up here and stand on the fact. When you asked him, I respected that. You said, "Would you run for $1.50 a mile?" I wouldn't either.
Listen. But see, here's what people don't understand. When you're running one vehicle and you running a fleet of vehicles, it's a different story.
Different things. Right.
I'm looking at it from a Walmart perspective. I'd rather come in and make a lot of money, right? With a fleet, right? I'd rather compound. I'm going to make a little money here, a little money there, a little money here, a little money there, but I'm going to make a lot of money on the grand scheme of things, but I'm also diversified.
I know fleets that's doing that and they survive in our area.
Okay.
I know fleets that's doing that and they survive.
And it's a reason why they're surviving. It's a reason
And
why they surviving.
I'm not gonna, and a lot of people don't like them. If some people watching, they know exactly who they are,
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, they got 6, 7, 8 trucks, and when they could get all 8 trucks out, they bring them out and they run at the cheapest rate possible, and they pay their drivers as little as possible, and got all type of side deals and But the whole thing is like, I mean,
Here,
you got to do what suits you. When you got one
here,
truck, in my opinion, that's more of an incentive for you to make every load count.
but see,
I
in
make
order
every
for,
load count. I don't have time to waste, and
but
I
in
get
order for them,
upset when
go
I
ahead, you got
run
it.
cheap. When I run, I don't. That's what I call it. It's just cheap. When I run those type of loads, like it bothers me, like internally. I'm not making this up. I have to get off. It take like 24 hours for me to, stop thinking about the fact that I just wasted time, 6, 8, 10 hours of my day doing something that I didn't make, and I be trying to make top dollar. As far as if my cost right now is what, like a $1.38, right around $1.40. I'm trying to get $2.80 per mile, and that's low to me, because I am spoiled. I did run back when I could get 4, 5, 6 for the same loads, but I've adapted. I understand that, hey, $3 a mile, $3.50 a mile, good money right now, but I'm not trying to move for less than $2.80. My cost is $1.40, approximately, between $1.38 and like $1.40, but I'm trying to run for $2.80, so I'm trying to get $1.40 a mile. That sounds crazy. I can't see the chat, but I know people, they think that's crazy talk. But I'm just telling you right now that that's how I'm moving my truck. I'm trying to move for, if I'm moving for 230, 240, I'm up. Now I'm not really upset, but anything less than that just don't make sense. And even then, I feel like it's a certain way you run cheaper freight. Okay? If I'm going to run a load for 230, 240, 250 a mile, then I'm paying a whole lot of attention to where I'm ending up when I'm done. I'm not going to end up in Des Moines, Iowa for 230, 240 a mile, and I'm about to drive 3, 4 hours back. No, I'm not doing that. So if I'm going to run for cheaper than what I normally run for, then I'm going to end up in Pontiac or I don't know. I could do, I'm going to end up somewhere where I'm 30, 40 minutes away from, the general area where I could either get something else or go home. But I'm not going to end up in Des Moines for 220, 230 and then burn up all of that profit coming back. You got to factor in maintenance, but the first and foremost, you got to talk about fuel. And the time spent, the loads you're going to see on the way back that you can't get to because you're 3 hours away. You got 2 hours to get to it. You can't book it. So this is how I route and run my truck, and that's just how I move as far as leveraging myself, like I said. And I've done it. I never even brought this up. But even with the dedicated route, part of it, I told people certain stuff I kind of leave out. But, yeah, when Curry contacted me for the dedicated route, I was asleep. I talked about that. I woke up, I called them back. They didn't respond. They had already gave it to somebody else. So the next morning, I'm following up. Once again, this is where discipline kicked in real time, because I laid down. And I'm like, I'm tired. I had just ran Amazon. I'm like, Curry ain't hit me back. I'm just going to go to sleep. And then something internally said, dude, if you don't text or call them people and just see what's up, you know better than that. This literally happened. I sat up. I said, hold on, let me just text old boy. I text the rep from Curry, and I said, hey, you contacted me. I text you back. You didn't respond. Did you feel it or what happened? He said, yeah, actually, I did feel it. But the guy's truck broke down. Is there any way you could get over there and run it today? I said, okay, I'll go over. I'll be there in an hour. Now this is where the leverage in my opinion, kick in. I showed up in 30 minutes. I was at the dock. They said, you from Curry? Yeah, that's me. Oh, yeah, we glad to see you. The other guy's truck break down. This is what I said to them. This leverage. And this is probably how you will get down. I said, my truck don't break down.
Of course.
I said, I'm 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
Real talk. I said, my truck don't break down. I'm 10 minutes away. They should have put me on it anyway. They called me. I was asleep. I don't know why they put that guy. And then I even went in talking to them about cost-wise. Where he's coming from, he don't even know it yet. In a week, he going to give up because, see, this what I didn't tell in the last.
It's cutthroat. It's cutthroat. It's right. It's the same shit like I'll be talking about. It is what it is. It's business. You put me in a position. If you wouldn't have been there, I wouldn't have been here to have this conversation.
And
you see what I'm saying?
beat me out for it already, so now I got to get it back.
Right.
So that's how I felt. This is why I told them on the dot. By the end of the day, I'm not making this up. They called me. They said, you coming back tomorrow? I said, I don't know. They said, well, we put in a good word for you. 5 minutes later, the Curry rep called me. He sounded baffled. He said, I don't know. They want you back. And so they offered me an amount. I went up $100 and they went back down 50. So they met me in the middle. But the story I'm telling you is I 100% understand leverage. That's a true story. It's just that certain stuff I try to just keep under wraps because, I don't need to, I try to, I don't need to tell everything.
I agree.
What you're saying about leverage is 100% right. There goes a situation right there. And right now, I got it. I've been running it over a month. I done took a vacation, come back. And the guy that tried to cover for me, he messed up. I don't know if it was the same guy or not. When I come back, oh, man, we happy to see you. They all work. So the point is, and then it's the service that I'm providing. You see what I'm saying? Because they're seeing that this guy's showing up day after day after day. So what you're saying about leverage is 100% right. But I don't agree with, the cheap, expensive, however you want to word it, that part of it. I feel like people need to educate themselves and know their costs in order to begin to leverage themselves at all.
So if you take a load at whatever you take the load for and someone's operational cost is at that price that you take the load for,
why would you want to run at your operational cost, though? That's
No. What I'm trying to explain to you is whatever you willing to take a load for, if your competition's operational cost is what you willing to take, clearly if you taking it, you a smarter individual, right? And whatever you take, obviously you profiting from it. If their operational cost is what you're taking it for at a profit, they're considering it so-called cheap. Is that your problem?
No, it's not.
All right.
And like I said, I know my costs, so I can leverage myself.
There you have it. So
down to cents, not and I don't want to put nobody on, but the whole idea of 25 to 50 cent of a range on your cost per mile kind of crazy, and that's just being 100. Like that range shouldn't be that big, even with the fluctuation
but people doing it
in different areas. It's
people doing it.
And
people doing it
from where you live.
People doing it, but the harsh reality is people doing it. And if what happens that I think is going to happen, it's not going to get any better. But anyways, what I'm trying to get people to understand is if they complaining now, it's not going to get any better.
Right. I get you. And see, that's what it, me personally, and it's just, I'm not complaining. I consider it more educating. That way people don't, because we see them. Like I said, how many people have you don't keep count, but how many people have you had just on that your one main live stream you do? Do you know how many people been on there?
As far as on the call-in show, like guests?
Right.
I don't know.
Over 100 maybe?
Oh, way over 100.
Possibly.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. And I don't see all of them, but the ones I do catch are normally they interesting. And I feel like the main thing is a whole lot of individuals just not wanting to do the legwork. When you ask, what did you spend on fuel? Profit margins. What's your cost per mile? And individuals don't, know that information. And like I said, I give a newer, I don't want to put a whole lot of leeway, but you a month or two in, I can understand why you still just trying to get into a rhythm of things. But most of the people you talking to have already been in the space for a year and a half, 2 years, and they still just not getting it. So those are the individuals that think that somehow by taking freight at the minimum, which they don't know their minimum, so some made up minimum, that they're able to leverage themselves. That's
But
that's
see,
that's what's crazy
but
to me.
but see, to the smart business owner, you have to account for them too, and that goes back into what I'm saying. This is why it's imperative as a business owner, you know your costs, and that's why I use the analogy when you driving, you pay for insurance, like. And I hate to keep using where we're from, but don't nobody stop at red lights here. Don't nobody stop at stop
Right.
signs. So us going through a green light, we have to cover the brake. Use our, you know what I'm saying? Because you got to be a
Oh yeah,
defensive
they'll
driver.
hit you, and the
You
next thing they're gonna do after they hit you, what they gonna do? Run
run. So in
if
coming in
they can.
business,
So I mean,
if they can. So even in business, especially now, right? Because we know what is going on now, you have to come into business, understand that you have people competing harder, rightfully so, people that are competing harder profiting, but you also have an infusion of people that have come into the space, right? Over the past couple years that don't know what the hell they doing, right? So you have to account for them too. So that's why it's important that you understand all this stuff coming in and you know what you investing in. What has occurred can't nobody change. I don't like people complaining. I hate to hear
I
people,
get it.
and here's why I don't like people complaining, because everybody that comes and complains, they don't know what it costs to run their business.
And I mean, it's also, whatever the situation is, it's a way out of it. It's just a matter of you doing what you need to do. If like, man, I just being honest. That's why I tell people I'm not perfect. I've had some dark days in business. I can't say it was ever a point where I was gonna throw in the towel,
Mm-hmm.
but I contemplated it a few times. Like, is this
I
shit
think we
even
all
worth
have.
it? Just
I
being
think we all have.
100% honest. And then the next day I'd be like, something gonna change eventually.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that, and that's what happened. One day I woke up, that's what it is. It's like you said, I've said it. It's just staying down until you actually come up. And I know that sounds taboo or like some hood terminology, but it's honestly, sticking with what you have, maintaining, being smart about it, still day by day educating yourself, but not giving up, because right now I think business never gonna really be perfect. I think I spoke on that, you spoke on that. I heard you say that. And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that. Like, even once the money comes, and then now that you could save, and then the bank account piling, the business paying the bills, you could pay yourself so you could pay your home bills. Now once you get the money out of the way, the other problem's gonna start. I think that's what a lot of people don't realize. Getting the money is just to get you stable, and then the real challenges is gonna come after that. I mean, would you agree?
More
When you
money,
get
more
the money,
problems.
in my opinion, you just took the words out of my mouth. Soon as you get a little, you start stacking that little chicken bag, other issues gonna present themselves. You're gonna be mentally tested, and that's why I talk about that a lot. Right now, a lot of people are financially tested. They can't even think about the mental test. that's gonna come up the road. See, it's bigger than money. So that just and it just as real as I could be from what I've experienced from other people that, you know, yeah, you gotta get to the money, but just mentally and physically prepare yourself because what's gonna happen after you actually get to it, you might not be able to handle that. You might not even want the money once you get it.
Here's something that I know people want us to talk about because I guess we talked about the cheap freight. I guess with that we just gonna have to agree to disagree, agree to disagree. But it's something
I
that you
mean,
said. Go ahead.
no, I don't want to cut you off because that was kind of long winded. But I think, like I said, right now while I'm, everything is you there. I just want to touch on that, and I think I said it too. Like the money is just the beginning. That ain't going. It's gonna be more to work on, even within than just making money and being financially stable.
I want to talk about they because you put they coming up on my platform. But see, now I want to talk about who created they because they come up on my platform and I hold them accountable. But we know who created they. See, I wasn't around. I call them little demons.
See, it's crazy because my next live stream, I was gonna do it, but I caught you on. I don't know. I mean, we touching on a lot of these topics right now, but my next live stream, I was gonna title it "Who Created These Demons."
So
that was literally the title. I probably won't even do it now, but because I heard you say that, and I said, "Damn, what an analogy!"
Yeah.
But I mean, on
keep it a buck.
that accord,
keep it a buck.
I'm gonna just be real with you. A lot of us content creators that were around in from the first individual. I ain't naming no names, but from the first individual on forward, it was a time of euphoria.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I came in, person I'm watching, they like, man, what you running for? $4, $5? I'm running for $6. I was sold. I made 20-some thousand in a month. I was sold. I'm ready to jump out my Sprinter and, risk it all. So the point I'm making is a lot of us came in then uneducated on, trucking in general. And of course, we put out content that brought in, masses and masses of individuals. And was that foolish? I mean, of course. I think a lot of the content that initially was put out, was it put out in good faith? I believe so. I think
I don't know about that, man.
Well, for me it was in good faith. Now I can't. Okay. But the point I'm making is, a lot of people were trying to, put out different content in order to, help other people. And like you say, I never talked about this, but the generation, if you could find some, content where I'm talking about, creating generational wealth I feel like it's a way you could do that too. But it's not going to be with the box truck business.
That's what I say. The box truck business is going to be a jump start. Yeah, exactly. Jump start.
To clean up your credit, to save up money, to get ahead, and then use what you have to invest in something else. Then you could create generational wealth. But just thinking that you're going to run a box truck business and pass it down, no, it may be another business that you create that's lucrative enough for you to pass down. But no, I don't think it'll be a box truck business. And I'm just being 100% honest. So I think you can create generational wealth, but it's going to be by, like I said, building your credit score, saving money and creating other avenues for you to, do that. It won't be with I wouldn't want to put, not knowing what I'm knowing, about the trucking industry, I wouldn't want to put my kids and grandkids necessarily in a truck if they could avoid it. It's a lot to it that people don't even take into account.
Okay. Well, I touched on the two things. You got anything you wanna touch on that we possibly disagree with for the audience to?
One thing I want to ask, because I know it come up here and there,
Mhm.
is the algorithms on, say, Amazon and just DAT. Yeah, pretty much just kind of your take on, and I'm kind of in the process of like losing my thought, but carrier behavior and the algorithm on Amazon and DAT. Do you feel that the loads that we book on a regular basis, encourage the rates in any fashion? That's kind of what, I wanted to ask you, because I know you talk about consumer behavior,
Mhm.
but do you think the loads that carriers book on a regular basis influence, say, the algorithm on these different load boards that we using out here?
So it's mostly based on supply and demand, right? And with supply and demand and the whole market base is competitive. So when people are competing, there is some form of competition that does directly influence it. But it starts from supply and demand, right? And this is where I think a lot of people don't understand, because I hear like it goes back, and I'm answering your question. I'm just being long winded because I want to make it
Right.
a teaching moment. Everybody complains now, but no one was running around here complaining in 2021, in the first half of 2022, when volume was really, really high, right? And supply was coming up to meet that demand. All right. Prices went up because the demand was there. Supply and demand first, right? You really didn't have to compete because everyone was making hand over fist just off jump, right? Now that demand isn't there anymore, but you still have overabundance of supply that came in, and you still have supply lingering from that time period, and far less demand, everybody's complaining. So supply and demand first. Now, with less demand and you have more supply, it's going to drive more competition. And more competition is going to ultimately, yes, affect rates. Yes, that's what the whole point of the market is. I gave an analogy the other day with the stock market. It's just on a green day, when you're making money and the market is green, there's more people buying. If it's a red day, there's more people selling. So yes, but it all starts with supply and demand. And then, within competition, the more people compete, yes, it's going to drive. If I know I have this much room and profit, and I'm going at you for a low, but you got this much room initially to start, and I got this much room, I can keep squeezing you out because you ain't got but this much way before you gonna say I quit. You see what I'm saying? But ultimately, what that's doing is, yes, it's lowering the rates. So yeah, supply and demand and competition, both, yeah, it affects it.
And
That's the
see, that's
point.
what I kind of try to get people to see, that it's not AI and or algorithm and so forth for no reason. Of course, that we know that consumer behavior kind of controls, you know, the price of these loads, but at the same time, and
Well,
just being honest, the reason, can you really trust consumer behavior when people keep spending money and inflation keep rising? Where they getting the money from?
Well, here's the thing: they borrowing it. That's why the credit deficit is high. That's why I'm investing in the block, because people want to pay about 4 and do dumb shit like that. As far as the money, it's coming from borrowed money, credit, right?
Right.
We see, based on what, and this is something we was talking about earlier. We see in a lot of these gig economies, a lot of people in different sectors of gig complaining. I had a guy deliver my food not too long ago in a brand new A8, right? So you have an infusion of
Yeah, I had
people
an
who
Uber driver that had one. Yep.
okay. So
Yep.
you have a bunch of people going into gig economy to supplement income because they need more money to spend money, right? Because their traditional career, traditional job is just not cutting it no more. And then that's why you got the rideshare drivers saying rates are this or that because they're not getting as many rides. Obviously, the rideshare companies are lowering the rates, but the supply is increasing, so demand is lowering. You got the migrants that came in and took over the food delivery, right? You got the people in the gig apps doing the Go Share and the Carry and stuff. You have an infusion of new people coming in there. It was a big thing over the weekend where Spark deactivated a lot of people. That was huge. Spark deactivated a lot of dormant accounts of people who weren't really running on those accounts because there's so much demand for new people to come on that they rather bring on understanding what's going on at the economy that's going to make their platform more efficient. So you have people using borrowed money, and you also have people that are supplementing their income, doing a lot of this gig work. So a lot of money is being spent in services more so than
Right, but
goods.
that's what I'm kind of getting at over the course of the last week, and I think everybody that follow any, because I don't follow it 100%, but it's been constantly said that for the last year and a half, the government, the Fed, whoever has been trying to get the U.S. to stop spending so much money, but they keep doing it
because they keep finding
So
it.
how can you trust consumer behavior if they spending money that we say they don't got?
But they not spending it in the format that you need. See, where you need to spend them to spend it at as a trucker,
I get it.
they not spending it on goods. They spending it in service. They still going to Tulum, paying by 4, right? They still, you know what I'm saying? Listen,
Right, that's what I'm
listen.
saying. People
I'm
still
over in the
traveling.
I'm over in the Fulton Market district. They told me it's a 3-week wait to get in the Nobu. You know, they spending money on fancy restaurants in the Fulton Market district.
Exactly.
But
So that's
during
what's
the week
confusing
they
to me.
they
And you
spend it
kind
in
of clear
services.
some of that up, but that's confusing to me. That you say people don't got money, and we in a recession pretty much, but they keep spending it.
They spending it on stuff. Listen, when you look at
Even at the
experience,
car auctions, they spending money. I'm seeing people like dropping.
but see, you looking at a different type of person at the car auction. You ain't looking at basic general consumers. You looking at business people for the most part at car auctions.
Yeah, they have some type of
You know what I'm saying? So, but the money is being spent in services more so than goods, right? Because if the money was being spent in goods, it would kind of reflect the rates somewhat. Yeah, that competition, that supply, that truck capacity is there. But if the volume goes up, it's going to start to kind of alleviate some of the pressure that overabundance of supply has. It's going, you know what I'm saying? So people need to spend more money on goods. But a person will go to work all week, right? And they'll pay their bills and they'll have a little money left over, right? They not investing. And I'll give a tidbit that I already gave it to my members only community. And here's an indicator. And I share it. I normally wouldn't share this because I understand people listen. I divested from a lot of my crypto.
And yeah, I'm in the we kind of you a little familiar, but yeah, I'm wanting to move over to the S&P 500.
I divested a few months ago.
Right.
Before.
But you talk about almost everything.
Yeah, everything. I'm completely damn near out, right? But I saw it coming, and I talked about it. So the evidence is there in the members only. When I said, listen, I'm divesting. I felt it, right? One, because I know in order for me to make money, I'm smart money. I've been talking about this shit over a year ago, right? I told people I gave 2 free hits, right? So I've already made my money, right? But I know in order for me to make that overabundance of money, and I'm smart money and I got in early, I need dumb money to come in. And these are for the people who watch and don't understand, I'm not making fun. This is the actual term, smart money and dumb money, right? But dumb money doesn't have the money to invest. So I rather move my money, take my profits and move it into something that's going to make money. I need my money working. And look, if I wouldn't have did that, I would have pretty much broke even, and a lot of investments I would have lost on, right? And on the smart side of things, as far as the stocks, I'm winning. I talked about certain assets in the members only, right? And in the Discord, and I said, listen, I'm getting into this. As soon as I get into this shit, the shit runs, right? So the point that I'm trying to make is the reason why I got out of that is because consumers don't even have the money to invest into that. Dumb money doesn't have the money to invest. After they go to work all week, pay their bills, they have a little bit of money left over. They got a choice. Either they're going to do what's in their best interest, or they're going to go out and have a good time to get their mind off of how fucked up they are and get ready for the next week. Most cases, we see it here. They'd rather go out Friday night, Saturday night, go have a fancy dinner with their friends, get dressed up. The women go to Sephora. Sephora's doing great. Why? Because they got to go get the smell good and the spray and the makeup or whatever it is at Sephora so that they can look good at the fancy dinner at Frontier and at Noble and Girl in the Go and all these experience-based restaurants. Have this fun on the weekend to help clear them and have drinks to get their mind off of how messed up they are. And then they go back to work and are robbing Peter to pay Paul and living check to check. They're not going to take that money and put it into something, right, that you may need them to buy, or that I may, let's say, necessarily need them to buy in an investment and let that money sit. They rather go spend it on something service-based. And that's what's going on. So, yes, consumer buying behavior, you need people to buy more shit. Think about this. If more people were buying goods right now with the current supply, it would definitely affect the rates. Think about if people was buying as much shit as they was buying, just let's say 10% of what the volume was during the pandemic, it would definitely affect the rates. If they had the money, don't you think they'd spend it?
And see, that's what I'm getting at. Like, and I get what you're saying. They spending it on services and not goods. So that makes sense. But at the same time, too, I still feel like, at the end of the day, and I use just two areas, to just kind of make my point that, what the carriers do in some form or fashion, ties into these rates, especially not just with AI, but we could use Kenosha, Wisconsin and ORD9, which probably aren't 100 miles apart, give or take. And a lot of those lows, because I look at both areas, they come up at the same time. And I watch how fast, they go as opposed to each other. And what I see is, like I said, we got certain individuals that have fleets, in the ORD9 area. I know of at least 3. So I ain't going to pinpoint one, but I'm telling you that certain people are problematic, to others. But, not so much me, but
that's the name of the game.
Right. And, I get it. But at the same time, I hear about, these different, like I said, fleets. And sometimes people don't even know I'm watching. I'll see it in Facebook groups where certain individuals, and I know who they are trying to go to upper management like Amazon and, get these people out the way. So they trying to leverage themselves in a different type of way,
but
whether you agree with it or not.
Here's the thing. Here's how I was able to leverage myself in different logistics companies when I was running a fleet, because here's the thing. Instead of me dealing with a bunch of different owner operators and all their personal problems and all their truck issues, I could just deal with one person who's going to be responsible for his vehicles. We know that he is a business person, so he understands that, listen, my trucks need to run to make money. So now we can deal with one person who's going to supply us, let's say, with 10 vehicles instead of dealing with 10 owner operators and their 10 problems and their 10 costs and their 10 truck issues and all the bullshit that comes along with dealing with it. Now, there's some 3PLs that have gotten rid of the master contractor model. That's called a master contractor. There's some companies that have gotten rid of it because they don't want one particular company to have so much leverage on their dock, right? Because when I was pushing my way through with a bunch of trucks, I didn't run on a per piece. I didn't run on a per stop. I ran on a guarantee because I could name it because of the leverage that I have. You want these trucks? I got as many as you need. If you want more, I can get more. But this is what I need. So you have some companies that have ridded themselves from that model because that gives that particular individual a lot of leverage, right? But then you have some companies that
because inside as well, and that's where the problems and the issues have started to arise. And it had nothing. Like I said, I've never had an issue with these individuals, but I know of at least 10 people that's come to me complaining. Man, do you know the such and such and such and such and such? Man, them, so I've heard that. And I laugh because when they come to me before they even tell me who they are, I already know what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. Like I said, it's probably at least 3 fleets that's not DSP that's, in the ORD9 area and, close proximity. So, yeah, I've had multiple individuals that's had interaction. I've heard about, man, it's like I said, it's a lot of stuff I don't bring up. I've heard of, people being arrested, and I kind of try to poke around and find out if it was true. Or at least they were in contact with the police, and some people told me it happened. I don't know if it's true or not. I can't say, but that's why certain stuff I don't even put out. But they like, man, do you know the police was up here? What happened? Somebody and their drivers was stealing. And they was trying to say it was a certain, group of individuals. And when I went to people directly inside of Amazon, they were like, we did hear a story like that, but we don't know if it's true. So it's a lot that don't meet the eye, and like I say, I hear people coming to me and, they complain. And I mean, we've seen it, even other people, content creators and so forth, that, certain people cut corners and it affects other individuals. Now, I don't know if you consider that leveraging yourself or not, but
if you cutting corners legally and ethically, right? And if that affects your competition, maybe because they don't have the resources to do it, whatever the case may be, it's just business. See, then that's why I think a lot of people don't understand. Like, it just comes with it. So you have to do what's in the best interest for you and your business to compete and to win. To me, this shit is just second nature. I understand this shit. So it does get frustrating trying to, educate people who may not be as business savvy, whether because they new or whether because they don't comprehend well. You know what I'm saying? But to me, I understand just the whole concept of buy for a dollar, sell for two. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean I want to make 100%, right? Because you buy for a dollar, sell for two, you make it 100% profit. But the concept, buy for a dollar, I may sell for $1.50. If I can buy a bunch of units to save me in a wholesale, that way I can price you out, then I'll sell for 50-cent profit and price you out if you're my competition. I'll sell for 30-cent profit. You see what I'm saying? That's the name of the game. Profit is profit, especially if I'm selling it at volume. That's just the name of the game.
And see,
it's called capitalism.
That's the key words you just used, at volume. But something I was trying to touch on was when you have a smaller fleet or a smaller group of trucks, less than 3. So not a fleet.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, that's more incentive for you to make each load count
Yeah,
because you
those
don't get
individuals.
loads in an abundance. When
Mm-hmm.
you got 10 trucks, like I said, what you said, $100 a truck, but that's 900 or 1,000 a night,
Yeah,
give or take. That
yeah.
your net, not gross, right? That's net.
Nothing. Yep.
Exactly. So that's decent money overall. But when you got 1, 2, maybe 3 trucks, in my opinion, you need to pay a little more attention to the low. And again, people could do what they want,
But
but
they
I just
have to
try
do
to
what's in their
educate
best
people so they
interest.
understand this because
But
they
see,
just take. It's all type of different situations that you have to take into account. But
but
I
see,
get your point because you ran a fleet. What did you had?
right.
What 15 total? Did you say
I
15 total trucks?
I own 15, but I ran more. We were still renting trucks too, so I own
Right,
15. So but I understand how to make money, right? Charging, because here's the thing. I know I got to pay people. I need people to come to work. I'm okay with taking a little profit off each truck because I'm making a lot of money in totality. But then you got to understand, I got a whole moving company too. I'm diversified where I'm making a shit ton of money over there because ain't no middleman. You know what I'm saying? I'm
right,
charging at that point 100, 125, $110 an hour back then. And labor back then, the helpers were making $10 an hour. The driver was getting 13. So my labor cost 2013, 2014, $33 an hour. I'm charging $100 an hour for 3 men. And there's no middleman plus truck costs. So I can run a bunch of trucks over here. I can send 3 trucks to T-Force, now Dynamics, out in Wooddale, back when they was on Thorndale Road, right?
yeah,
For IKEA in the morning. I can send another 3 in the evening for 5 to 9s. I got 9 there doing Office Depot. I got trucks running Select, doing Bye Bye Baby, this, that, and the third, Cost World Market. I got installs, which is now NAL, doing Sam's Club, mattress delivery for Sam's Club, TV installation for Best Buy. So I'm diversified. So on that side, I can take a small amount off each truck and make a bunch of money in total. And that was the approach that I took, and I won. We lost him again. He got a phone call. That you back?
Yeah, yeah.
That was the approach. That was the approach that I took, and I won. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot of sacrifices. It was a lot of delayed gratification, but that's the approach because I wanted to make a lot of money. You see what I'm saying? I didn't want to make a little money. I wanted to make a lot of money. So whatever I needed to do to make a lot of money, I did what I needed to do to get that point. Now, granted, it was a different time period. You know what I'm saying? And granted, yes, I stepped on some toes. I took advantage of some independent owner operators. We recovered a lot of shit, especially for Dynamics, right? We recovered a lot for them. And if I saw that you were calling me or that they was calling me every day to recover one specific route, man, I need that route. We've been recovering it for the past 2 weeks where that driver's truck is broke down. Well, shit, it's been 2 weeks now. You might as well let me get that route. I've been sending this driver here for the past 2 weeks. I know you're going to call me every morning that I just keep telling him to come into work because I know you're going to call me anyway. You call me short notice. I say this, you call me short notice the day of and ask me, do I need an extra truck? After all my other scheduled trucks have already been there 2 hours and I can pull the truck out of thin air with a driver to recover your route. So don't you think you need a person like me? Yeah, Mark, we'll just get the route. We'll deal with that driver when he comes back. Yeah, it was fucked up, but man, I'm trying to get it.
like I say, I understand more than you know. Certain stuff, like I said, I didn't speak on, but yes, you do have to, put it. Sometimes just put a bug in their ear and let them. But this the thing too, and I'm gonna just be 100% honest. Once again, it's gonna relate back to discipline. You can't try to leverage yourself and say, "Hey, I'm gonna do this, this, and this," and then not deliver. Like I said, it's been over a month. I had 2 days off, and I requested them a week in advance. It was a discrepancy, but I was contacting them about those 2 days off, over a week in advance. What I'm saying is, if you're gonna leverage yourself, you also gotta deliver after the fact. You can't say, well, yeah, I could do this, this, and this, go with me, and then you showing up 3 out of 5 days a week. So that's why I say it all, to me, at the end of the day, just kind of relates back to discipline. I hate to keep harping on that, but it just, I want people to understand that way, that's the mindset they have. Like, I got to do the things that I don't want to do in order to get what I want to get. If you're not willing to do that, then, I mean, we see where you end up.
Yeah, everybody's situation is everybody's situation. So I know, this one guy in the Nightcrawler, he, in the chat, arguing about something that I don't think he gets the concept of what I'm trying to say. Do what's in your best interest, not worry about the next person, but put yourself in a position where you can compete. Like, complaining ain't going to do nothing but land on deaf ears. So if you understand that the market is competitive, the rates are the rates, do what's in your best interest so you don't have to sit up here and complain about rates being what they are. Don't go out and put yourself in a situation where you got an overabundance of overhead in your business. If you decide that you want to get in this business, don't go out and, put yourself personally, create a lot of debt personally, right? This is the landscape. Complaining ain't going to get you no. If you want to make more money, go do something else that's going to pay you more money that you don't necessarily have to compete. This is the current landscape. It is what it is. So you got to compete. Make sure your cost is low, and you may not be able to live on the top floor. If you want to live on the top floor, then operating one truck ain't going to be it. You're not going to get the type of money to live in the middle of Manhattan on the top floor. You're just not. So if that's your thoughts, then you thinking wrong. You have to be, and a lot of people ain't, not just outside the fact that they not doing the due diligence. They don't understand what they getting in. They dreaming. See, what I give people is harsh reality. This is what it is. So either deal with it or don't. Because here's the thing. If I was to enter into this market right now, and I know you're going to disagree. But let's say hypothetical. My current cost of living, running a box truck over the road, I wouldn't be able to afford it.
OTR, yeah, I mean,
I wouldn't be able to afford it. No, I wouldn't be able to afford it even if I ran final mile. But the point that I'm trying to make is I'm being honest, right?
You gotta apply yourself out there.
No. Here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying. If I'm telling you this, if I were entering into this space right now with my current living costs, right, what I've accumulated cost of living, running OTR,
right,
I wouldn't be able. Something would have to give. This is what I'm trying to say, which a lot of people aren't getting. Mm-hmm. They don't account for not only their cost of operating a business, they don't account for their current living costs. I'm not speaking for the people who coming from the humble beginnings. I'm using this example for people who coming from, because we got a lot of people that came from corporate America. I've had people that's come up on show. I just can't work for nobody no more. I make $125,000-$130,000 a year. I need to start my own business so I can, build general. I gotta break the curse and all this shit. And they think, okay, well, I'm making 125 on the job, but let's say 150 on the job. and they think they're gonna come in and make that same 150 in a box truck because somebody told them so, and they don't account for the cost. The cost that it costs to run that business, let alone the lifestyle that they've already built. Right? They got a house, they got a family, they got kids. Little Junior got childcare. The other little son, little man, we got school fees. He got soccer practice. We got to pay those fees. We got to pay food. So they don't look at it from a full scope. This is what it costs for us to live. We got to make this much money. But based on my research, this business isn't going to generate the amount of money to accommodate or suffice the current cost of living that we currently have. And then they get out here and they realize it, and then they get in the fickle. So this goes back to what I said. You have to do your due diligence. You have to be real with yourself. There's not a magical $1 million box truck. You're not gonna do it. This is where me and you had that whole back and forth about hope. This is reality.
And see, that's something else that, now that you kind of mentioned that, and this something I ask you because you speak on this. I've heard you, kind of speak on it a few different times, and a lot of individuals, undisciplined individuals, because this is kind of what I'm talking about too. You had to, in this situation, have some type of discipline. So I want to say that first. But when you say, for individuals to go back home and possibly, stay with their parents.
Go back. If that's what if that's what it takes for you to lower your cost of living, if this business is what you really want to do, and that's what you have to do to sacrifice to build the business, right? So that you can have more cash flow by lowering your expenses, then that's what you got to do. See, that's the thing. That's the thing, man. People don't want to do. I stayed at the crib till I was 34.
And I heard you say that, but now let me ask you this. This is my question for you. The individuals that you talk to on a day-to-day basis, not the individuals that's already in, but individuals that's aspiring to get in.
Right.
Most of these individuals, do you think that they're disciplined enough to go back home with mom, and whatever the situation may be, and actually do what they need to do to start a successful trucking company? Or are we going to have guys down there like, talk to me nice? I know you, I saw him.
Yeah.
So if you at your mom's house and, like I said, you're not disciplined, so you just in the basement drinking, and you having females over, or, you living your best life in your mama basement. See, I see this being a lot of these individuals. That's why I say certain stuff could get taken out of context. You go back home and you lose that sense of direction, and then now, you just at home with mom. That's what I'm saying. A lot of these individuals don't have the, I guess, discipline that you had to even handle that type of situation correctly.
And that's why you got winners and losers.
A viable option, right? I don't think that's a viable option for a lot of individuals. Just be honest.
But see, that's their personal. See, that's the thing. I get it, and it's
and
whatever.
That was a blessing,
and I always say that.
OG, because
I appreciate it.
A lot of OGs is not in a lot of moms are not in a position to even do that.
Right.
They nowadays the moms getting younger and younger. They mama got to have a life too. You know what I'm saying? They're not old fashioned.
I get it.
Maybe church going type of. It's different. You know that.
I know that.
We see what some of the moms doing nowadays.
I get that, and it was a different generation.
It's moms that should be. I see women in their 40s and 50s. With daughters, and they 25 and 30. And the mom see the daughter on the internet doing certain stuff that's, I'm just going to say not to, they don't say nothing because they doing it too. Mm-hmm. So it's just different now. That's without going too deep into, to me, it's different.
see, that's the thing though, and that's as you know, if not everybody is going to have the same circumstances. You know,
Right.
everybody's plight going to be
Right.
different. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So, and it's, if you want to start a business and you not at home, or that was a guy in the live stream last night that asked me like, man, I just start following you, man. He said, man, my mama charging me, I still live at home and my mama charging me 700. He's like, man, do you think
And
that's
that's
right?
right.
I said, man, I can't tell you. Your mama might be taking that 700 and banking it for you. Little do you know, in case you run into a situation. But your mama
Or
is
not, but after 18, 21, you got to learn responsibility.
you got to
And
learn responsibility.
like I said, I understand certain situations, but all situations not like that. And that's kind of how this newer age of parents are thinking. They don't even want you to pay nothing. They want you to get out. I've heard parents say, when this individual turned 18, he gone.
And
I'm
that's
like, no, it ain't like that. He gone. I'm talking
yeah,
about out of the. I'm like the day. I'm like you. I don't even think that a person could even stand on that. But I've heard that rhetoric that when
I
an individual, because of the way they were behaving in the household and certain things they had done, when the day they turned 18, they had to go. I'm like, well, okay, you're gonna be at your mama crib, right
yeah,
around the corner. He ain't
yeah,
going far.
he
He'll
ain't
be
going
back.
far.
So if you think
Yeah,
you're gonna put him out at 8, so this is the mindset. I'm not trying to get, even really personal, but I'm just saying I hear this different type of, rhetoric, and I'm like, it's not that simple. Where at an age a person just becomes, responsible. It just depends on that individual. So
unfortunately,
that's just
unfortunately that individual may not have the same type of head start as, let's say, a person who, you know, OG let me stay at the crib. I didn't have to pay no bills, so I didn't have to appropriate funds to that. So I was able to
right.
appropriate those funds back into the business to grow and scale at a more rapid pace. I get it.
Right.
That's unfortunate. You know what I'm saying? But life ain't, fair. That person who he may have to work a little bit harder. He may have to delay his gratification a little bit more. His journey to the top may take a little bit longer, but that doesn't mean that he's not going to get there. Why? Because he may have somebody that may fund him. He may have somebody that's going to give him a jump start with a little capital. I didn't have nobody to give me no jump start with capital. Yeah, I was able to stay at the crib, but I had to thug it out and grind. My first job that I took off Craigslist, I didn't even have no fucking money to get. I thank God I had enough gas to get to the job, complete the job, to get paid. A Chevy Avalanche, and the first $75 customer, that was a mattress. I wish I knew I wish I knew or could remember who he was or had some type of contact on him. You know what I'm saying? That's what continued to elevate me. You know what I'm saying? But, by the grace of God, I had a mother who supported me and said, you know what? I can't invest no money in you, because if I invest the money, if I dip into my money, my retirement, and you fail, now we both fucked up. Right? So go out there, be great. And that's the best that I could do for you. You got a roof over your head. And I appreciate that more than any dollar that she could have ever gave me, because it forced me to go out there
That's definitely a blessing.
and grizzly
Like I
out it.
say, that I don't think that's a lot of individuals. And just being honest, I don't think that's a lot of individuals' reality today. I know a few people that got that type of relationship with a parent, but most of the people, they don't. They really trying to get up out of there. For real, for real. Some people, like, yeah, they just trying to get out of there. So, like I said, that ain't a viable option for some people. But, if you have that, that's a blessing. I would utilize it. But yeah, I feel like a lot of people, they need to go with the other option, which you talk about, which is starting small.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing though. Day competition is comparable. Let's say, okay, so now I stayed at the crib, but this person had to get out and pay bills. Okay, now the person coming in who's American, right? Who got to get put out that want to start this business. His competition is a illegal migrant that's came over here illegally that the government is giving them the money to start the business. The playing field still ain't level. It's still not fair. You see what I'm saying? So
I got you. I get what you're saying.
Only the strong is going to survive, and it's just something like you said. The first thing it starts with, you got to be up here.
Yeah. Like just disciplining yourself. I say practice. If you start a business right now, like practice that. Like just the first thing you could do if you want a step one, set a schedule of what you're gonna do throughout between 6 a.m. and I don't know 4 or 5 p.m. and then work on following that schedule. And then once you could follow a schedule and actually commit closely, we know you might set out 2 hours and it may take 2.5. That's going to happen. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But the point I'm making is that you're somewhat following a schedule. I feel like that's imperative for somebody trying to run a business. You got to have some type of plan, on how you're going to do what. That way it keep you off the phone. When you're looking at a list that say, when I get out the truck, I know I got to make, because some of the stuff for me, the mental block, it'll be phone calls that I need to make. I need to make 2-3 phone calls a day. And for some people, to me, it's as simple as that. And just them not doing it. Mm-hmm. Saying, man, I would rather just go get something to eat. I've been wanting, go to this particular restaurant. I'm going to do that, as opposed to make these 2 phone calls that take 10 minutes apiece. Like I said, to me, that's discipline. Doing what you don't want to do, when you don't want to do it. And even maybe right in the middle of the act, I just gave that, right where you about to say, man, I'm about to just jump in the car and go do this. I've done that. Make those couple phone calls. And I ain't going to be long-winded, but that's just kind of the point I'm making, about doing stuff that you don't want to do, in order to get where you want to get, because that's what I feel like a lot of what's going on. People park the truck, and I heard somebody talking about this. Like I said, it ain't to put anybody on Front Street, but people park the truck and say, I'm tired. I can't do it. And you got to realize you got actors and entertainers that's sleeping 2 hours a night. Like, do you agree? It's some entertainers that they may get 2 to 4 hours of sleep.
There's some people that move out to Hollywood with dreams of being an actor, and they busting and waiting tables at night, and they sleeping in their car. You hear these stories all the time of some of your richest actors today.
Right. To get what they want to get.
Exactly.
So that's just kind of the point I'm making. Like, we got to sacrifice more, in the name of being, I know people I try not to get too, but you have to sacrifice more in the name of being disciplined. Some of those things you're not going to be able to do as a business owner. Certain, functions you're going to miss. You know how many Friday and Saturday nights I've been in my truck riding past individuals going into nightclubs.
I used to do it all the time.
You know how many times I could count? Like but this the thing, when you really thinking the way you're supposed to be thinking, you don't even want to go in a nightclub with them. Because they coming out and they spent more money than they came out to spend, whether they had it or not. And me, I just made $600, $700, $800 because all of the other owner operators are in those lines going in those clubs. They don't, they made $3,500 this week. He celebrated. I'm still in the truck, Saturday and Sunday. So it's just like, I'm saying in certain situations, not necessarily now, but that's just the point. I've had plenty nights where I've rolled past individuals going to party, and I'm going to get a load. So it's just the decisions that you're going to make, and like I said, when you really thinking the way you're supposed to be thinking, you don't even want to be in those clubs and, unless for me, I want to be on vacation. If I, local nightclubs and stuff like that, that's cool. But I'm kind of I done kind of outgrown that. So me wasting money in bars and nah, I ain't even a huge drinker. So for me, it's just and it is what it is. But yeah, the mindset is everything as far as where you gonna get to. If you want to be doing everything that everybody else doing, then you're gonna get the results that everybody else get.
I agree. Anything else you got for me that you disagree or agree on, so everybody can get it out their system?
I mean, I think we covered, most of everything that I could really, kind of think of. I feel like it was a good stream. I'm glad I got a chance to kind of, pop in. Usually I ain't on midday, but it's good to be able to, open up. And like I said, just looking at, the space in general, I feel like the conversation has been great. I've seen, so many different individuals, whether it's yay or nay, just speak up, either against me or against you. It's not to pit individuals against each other, because I think at the end of the day, everybody learns something. Even me, I'm seeing a different, viewpoint and so forth. But my main point that I want to drive is just for individuals to educate themselves. Like I said, math antics. Go. I don't mean to keep saying that but go check that out. You know what I'm saying? Just to get a better idea of arithmetic, and that's a start for me. And then just kind of, because we want to be trying to give people solutions. Just that schedule. I feel like those two things, just learning a little bit of math and setting a schedule Monday through Friday, even a journal, some of that, that's going to help a whole lot of people. And I know a lot of people aren't doing that. So
aren't doing what? The
like
math,
just
right?
journaling or having a schedule, and the math. I feel like people got holes in their arithmetic. A lot of people do. And as an adult, they never address them. Once you get out of school, nobody never go. That's why I picked that, because a lot of people, that's why I brought up myself, have like a shut off, to where when it gets too complex, then they just stop.
But see, I don't feel sad for a person who's starting a business that hasn't addressed a more important issue, like learning how to read and write and understand math. You trying to start a business because somebody told you this, that, and the third. You looking at a money aspect, but you don't even realize that shit ain't true, because you don't know how to add anyway to realize the number they told you gonna make don't even make sense. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So you know what I'm saying? If you don't know how to add your costs and divide it by the miles driven, the last thing you should be doing is starting a business. That sounds like a person who need to go enroll for a GED. You ain't got your GED. Ain't no way you graduated high school if you don't know how to add and divide. You sound like you need to put your priorities.
No, some people did.
Okay. So here's the thing. I don't
even want to go into that.
I believe you. Listen, it's a lot of people.
It's special circumstances. But what you're saying, for the most part, is correct.
Right. So am I supposed to
graduate high school? For the most part, most people should have a basic understanding of math, basic math. I ain't gonna say arithmetic as a whole, because
we ain't saying they should know algebra with trigonometry, but
adding
your costs, adding and dividing. Listen, if this is what's hindering you from being great, then you know what? No problem. Fail. Go ahead and fail. And this is where people get upset at me. Go ahead and fail, because there's plenty of other industries that we need you in anyway that people don't want to do no more. Business ain't for you, big dog.
I agree.
We need you, because man,
it'll tell you.
Business will tell you.
Just like I feel like right now, I'm just using my business as an example. I feel like my business is telling me to scale. I got to add, it's time for me to add something, whether it even be just a van. But my business is now telling me that. I haven't been thinking about scaling. It'll come up to you on its own
Yeah.
to say, hey, I could get some more money over here. I'm not utilizing, this income over. So now I need to ramp up. You're not just scaling because you want to scale.
Mm-hmm.
You scaling more because you need to scale. That's how I feel. So that's kind of where I'm at. And I've been talking, about it the last couple of weeks, but probably just add like a cargo van. I don't want the risk associated with putting somebody in a box truck, and I'm trying to keep my box truck running, properly. Even when I'm driving, like my truck shifts, it's almost my truck tell me when it want to go faster. If I'm going up a hill and it ain't shifting, it's because it don't want to go faster. I'm not forcing it up the hill. No, I don't stump through gears. Like my truck shifts on its own. I'm ready to shift. It shifts. I just press the gas a little more. So the way you operate in these vehicles, is I've said this causing a lot of these maintenance events. And yeah, I don't want the risk, associated with putting somebody in a box truck. Now, a cargo van, some of them you could just beat on them. So that's kind of where I'm at. And if you hit something, it's less damage. If you hit somebody, they probably still be alive. So yeah, I'd be real skeptical about even wanting to put somebody in a box truck because I know what could happen in a vehicle of that size. But I do feel like, yeah, right now I'm at a point where I need to scale. And that's something else, I hear people talk about it, but I feel like certain things your business will alert, just like if you're not supposed to be here. If it's just a 80-90% struggle the whole way, that's probably a sign. Nothing never give or go your way, like, yeah, it may not, be for you. So I feel like it's certain things that people are ignoring that's kind of causing them to be in the situations they in. But certain stuff to me in business, if you running, it'll kind of hint you to say, hey, okay, And like I said, I feel like I need to scale now, but I'm still trying to be out in a year and a half. That's just now, because whenever I'm ready to get rid of whatever, then I'll just start selling stuff. So, I'm not thinking even far into the future. I just feel like right now, it's other stuff that I could be doing. It's other opportunities out there that I'm not kind of utilizing. Even stuff I could make easier for myself during the day if I had somebody else in the van. So, yeah.
Let me ask you one last question before we get out of here. As far as what I'm talking about, as far as the migrants entering into the space, which ultimately is going to obviously keep things the way they are, or could potentially, for some people, right, worsen things. Do you see this coming into fruition, or do you think I'm just blowing smoke?
I mean, only a fool would think that the migrants aren't going to have it's set up for them to have an impact. That's why they are getting funding. That's why they are getting driver's licenses. That's why they do get IDs. Because if they weren't wanted here, then they wouldn't get resources.
So let me ask you this.
So
what would you advise a person in this space currently or looking to enter into this space to do in preparation? Because if we are aligned on that, then we already know you are. So it's basically what you saying. You agreeing with me. Shit ain't going. Whatever people thought it was, or going back to whatever they waiting on, we agreed that ain't it. Get used to what you see, right?
Yeah, it's going. I mean, we kind of agreed on that last time that when we talked about Amazon, and I talked about that how, DSP is study, and I don't know how far it's gonna go, but we see DSP coming on and so forth. So people just gonna have to, just have a business mindset. Like with me, I have to talk about, and like I said, most of this I never even bring up, but if you just kind of stuck on a trucking mindset, I feel like with me, I'm trying to use trucking. I'm also actively right now, like, and just kind of, certain stuff I don't even kind of try to bring into it, but I'm actively also. I said I used to kind of flip cars,
Mm.
so I'm trying to stockpile those as well. That's a stream of revenue for me. So you got trucking. I'm trying to mess with the cars. I'm actively doing that. I'm also working on getting my real estate license. So this is just to give people a idea of what they need to be doing. You shouldn't just be stuck on trucking. You got to know what you want to do after this, because to me, this is not a forever thing. I mean, and some people might not agree, but just in my opinion, like, you have to, just like with your daily schedule, you got to have some type of plan. Like I said, I feel like I'm going to scale within the next 6 months to a year, but I
Mm-hmm.
might be out in the next year and a half or two,
Mm.
because that was my plan. It just depends on how, other things, but you want to have other stuff working, in your favor. Know how to get money somewhere else other than trucking. Like I said, I know individuals he run his truck at night, he work during the day, but
Mm.
that's working for him. If you got to work a job, if you got to flip cars, if you got to get into real estate, it's a lot of avenues. I know people that's messing with like online stores. I would say content creation, but people ain't, getting rich on that right now. But it's so much different stuff that you could do depending on your skill set. And that's what I think people need to work on. Just, what you want to do. That's something to think about too. What do you want to do after trucking? Do you want to try to run a trucking company for 20, 30, 40 years? And then, or is it something else that you working towards? To me, I would be trying to, and like we talked about investing as well. That's kind of something I left out. But
Mm-hmm.
I kind of got into crypto.
Mm-hmm.
You know, somewhat educated myself on that. I lost a little money, about half of the money I put in, but I didn't put in more than what I could afford to lose.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of started catching on, like, man, something. So I slowed down because we talked about like day cost averaging and stuff like that. But at some point, I saw like, you know, so I lost some money, but I understand now where I do want to invest.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. It's all just having, investing, real estate, trucking, flip. It's so much stuff you could do, but you just got to kind of find what works for you. That's what I think. So that's how you would offset what's occurring with the migrants, because I'm thinking a lot of what they're going to get is going to be like entry level, stuff. So you got to kind of advance yourself to where, you know, you doing something that they can't necessarily, or you doing so many different things that what they're doing don't even matter. That's kind of how I look at trucking. Like, you said this, and I actually, live this. I'm thinking more ahead
Mm-hmm.
of what's about to happen, a year or two from now. And there's no guarantees, but that's honestly how I think, So, like, I see myself being in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want to do, flip homes. And, initially I was going to try to do it on the side. No, I just want to get a real estate license, and I'm going to have that by October. And right now, the market ain't that great. Like, I got a
Mm-hmm.
homeboy, he got approved for a loan. He didn't actually go through with buying the house, but it was at like 3.5%, like maybe 3-4 years ago. Now it's, I believe, above 7.
Here?
So in general, pretty much, yeah, I believe like
No, I'm saying it's the home
7%
here.
interest rate.
No, I'm saying it's the home here.
It was in Wisconsin,
Okay.
and he got a 3.5% deal, but he never went through with buying the home. And so, yeah, now we know where it's at. But this is the perfect time to get your license and educate yourself. So, I got people that's kind of connected in. When it do finally turn around,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you already educated on it and just ready to go. Like you said, you stockpiling the cash and kind of, So that's kind of where my head at as far as with trucking. I'm already, if everything in me allow me to do it, I'm in real estate already.
Mm-hmm.
This is doing right now.
Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know
I'm,
we close to hanging everything up.
yeah. I'm just letting you finish your thought, and then yeah, I'm get out of here.
Yeah, I didn't want to, I keep getting
Mm-hmm.
these calls. I didn't even get a chance to put the phone on D&D. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I know we kind of nearing the end. But yeah, just to give people an idea of, the mindset that I think they should have, not to get long winded or just, be up here rambling on. So,
All right. Well, I appreciate you for tuning in. I've been calling you out for a minute now.
yeah, man, I had to
I'm,
get the time to get in, and then, like they say, they wanted me to drop the link, which if I did that with a mic, I got to have a headset. So I got a headset on the way. We gonna get to it, but like I said, I wasn't ducking no smoke. We need to do more of this because I feel like me and you, we can, with different viewpoints, educate at a higher, frequency, if you will.
yeah, yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah.
You can't do it all by yourself, and you gotta have, like I said, I feel like I pushed you. You know what I'm saying? I hope it continues. Because you didn't. Yeah, you
No,
stepped
you
it up.
did. You did because I was I just saw that the space is dead. To be honest with you, it's dead. It's dead. It's not where he was even at last year. But that I like friendly educational challenges. Right, as long as it's educational and
Right, right.
then yeah, I appreciate that because it's one, it's healthy for the community, and keeps the community engaged. Like a lot of people say, I just turn it on while I'm driving. It gets me through the night. I put the call in show that get a lot of drivers through the night. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right, right.
I try to help people. Get them some type of edutainment and educate. But yeah, I do. You did. I did. You did, and I gave your credit in the Discord, and yeah, you did push me. I ain't gonna lie. I
Yeah, them
appreciate
couple.
it.
Because I mean, yeah, we need to, like I said, open up this dialogue. And yeah, I definitely noticed. The last couple streams, you was, yeah, you was
But
doing your thing. And
I don't want nobody to think we got some type of beef though. See, I think a lot of people think
see,
we got beef.
that's ignorant though. Because I mean, first off, we done did content in the past,
Mhm.
and I just feel like if you got a bunch of people in a room and everybody agreeing on the same thing, either somebody not being real or it's an incentive involved.
Mhm.
That's usually when you get everybody to agree on the same thing. And I
Mhm.
saw that once I kind of opened up and said, well, hey, I don't. I saw numerous other individuals kind of just speak their piece, not for them to come up and say, oh, we against Mark, but
Mhm.
to say, well, I don't totally agree with that. You see
Mhm.
what I'm saying? To me, it's nothing wrong with that. As
Mhm.
long and as you can see, like even with this debate, like you've been able to talk, I've been able to talk. It ain't a whole bunch of yelling back and forth. It's not personal. What's wrong with that? We need more of that. And in other spaces, they do this all the time.
Oh, all the
Some people
time.
get in the same place and do a debate together. So to me, it's just like, for people to think that, because two people don't agree on a certain subject, that it's beef. That's ignorant to me, hood shit. You know, and them type of individuals, that's just their mindset. But nobody's attacking anybody, or it's not personal. We know cool.
Mhm.
It's content, and like I said, to me, it's educational.
Mhm.
So yeah, for people to think that it's a personal, nah, not at all. Two people could disagree and still business in general. You know, like everybody not going to agree on everything. So, yeah,
well, I
that's my take
appreciate
on
you.
it.
I appreciate you, man. I'm
Definitely.
finna go ahead and end it. I appreciate you. I
Man.
appreciate everybody for tuning in.
For sure.
Until next time, peace, brother.
All
Appreciate
right,
you.
y'all take it easy. Appreciate you. Thanks.
All right, later.
Yep.